Hello, I'm Greg Sutton, Chief Academic Officer for Hardin County Schools, and we've had a great start to the 24-25 school year. And obviously each year we meet on our Impacting Learning and Empowering Students shows, and we do a lot of great things in the district that does impact learning and empower students. One of those things obviously we talked about recently is our Portrait of a Learner. But how does that lead us into the academic success that we're going to talk about? Well, I'm coming to you today here from Bruin Nation, right here at East Hardin Middle School. And let's talk about some of our math goals for this year. And you've heard us talk a lot the last few years about reading and Orton Gillingham and all the foundational reading processes that we have in place and programs with magnetic reading and our new CKLA Amplifier reading program. And we put a lot of emphasis on being good readers. Let's talk about foundational numeracy. Let's talk about math. Let's talk about some things we put in place at the elementary and middle school level for us to be successful. One, at the elementary school level, everybody's using the Ready Classroom Math program. We partner with Curriculum Associates, and we've even partnered with a, I guess you could say kind of like a consultant that's coming in multiple times with our schools, working with our teachers, being involved in walkthroughs, being involved in PLCs, working on a feedback system for our teachers to get better at foundational numeracy and best practice math teaching. Also, we've done some partnering with GREC, our regional co-op around here that's been focused on some foundational numeracy skills, and we've got all of our schools involved in that process. Usually 2 or 3 days a year they're involved in training with that. But let's talk about middle school. We're very excited this year about middle school because the middle schools now have a consistent math program called Illustrative Math. It is a research-based program approved by the state. We made a large investment in this program. We've got our teachers training on the program. They have access to a digital platform with Illustrative Math. They have access almost like to a toolkit and resources. So we're really excited about our curriculum that we have in place with Ready Classroom Math, Illustrative Math for the middle schools, and we're really moving in the right direction with our focus on math. Now let's talk about the skills. You know, we always say, hey, what does it need to be a good reader? You got to have phonics, you got to have the phonemic awareness, you got to have good fluency, you have to have practice on comprehension. We always talk about that with reading. Well, what does that look like for math? Well, I always say, do kids know their addition and subtraction facts? Do kids know their multiplication and division facts? You know, how is knowing that information critical in building their knowledge skills and being a problem solver? We think that's very important. You know, I've been a parent, I've been a teacher, I've been in a principal role, I've been in a lot of different roles. Now as Chief Academic Officer, I can tell you the importance of a student knowing those facts. And you know, numbers have to make sense, what we call it number sense. And how students use those numbers to put things together to become problem solvers is very important. So when we ask you as a parent to say, hey, can you sit down with your kids at night for maybe 5-10 minutes and practice their addition, subtraction, multiplication, division facts, we need your support. And we can do a lot of strategy in the classroom, but what we tell kids, if you really want to know those facts, it takes practice. You know, we say practice makes permanent. So one of the things you're going to see in our video today is listening to some of our teachers, our administrators that are former math teachers, talk to you about the importance of foundational numeracy, knowing these facts, and how to put the practice in place to say, I need to know these. It's important for me moving forward as a student and being a successful student. So thank you all for joining us here today. I think you're going to be happy listening to some of our educators, and we want you to be part of this process with us. So parents were asking, if your kids come home with a set of flashcards and they say, Mom, Dad, will you sit down with me for just a few minutes, or maybe a grandparent or an aunt and uncle, or maybe a brother and sister, and say, help me practice my facts so I can memorize them, so I can apply them when I get to school the next day. Please make that effort for us. It would be greatly appreciated. We also have a Reflex Math program, which is a digital online program that we provide to every student, the K through 5, to practice their foundational skills in math. So, even maybe 10 minutes a night on that for practice when they get to their green light, if they didn't reach it that day during school, we would greatly appreciate that support as well. I always go back to my story with my daughter when she was in 3rd grade and she was memorizing her facts. The school had sent home the flashcards, and we were working on her threes that night. And she got to 3 times 3, 3 times 4, 3 times 5, all the way to 3 times 8. I said, what's 3 times 8? And she said, well, that's 24. I said, okay, so if 3 times 8 is 24, what's 8 times 3? She said, well, Dad, we haven't done our 8 yet. So I always go back to that story of saying, she didn't understand that 3 times 8 and 8 times 3 was the same thing. She hadn't made sense of that through some of her memorization and even through some of her strategies from school. But having those discussions at night allowed me to show her, how things connect, and numbers started to make sense to her. After that conversation with her in 3rd grade, she's now a broadcaster, and doing well in college education. But you think back to those times when we're teaching our kids, those are very important, that we take a few minutes every night to help our students. So enjoy this segment this month. Great to see you all during the 24-25 school year. Very excited about what we got going on with math. Thank you, and we'll see you next month.
Hello, my name is Fabian Bennett, and I'm a teacher at James Shalt Middle School. I've been teaching math for 27 years, 7th and 8th grade. I've also tutored students in geometry and Algebra 2 and college algebra as well. For me, the impact of knowing multiplication facts, I think of a story several years ago. We were in a training, and the trainer person had told us that she thought that students could learn higher level math without knowing the multiplication facts. And I remember a colleague of mine saying, well, I can drive my vehicle to Elizabethtown without the tires on, but it won't look too good when it gets there. And so I think about that analogy that really there's a lot of truth to that with students not knowing the multiplication facts. It can be detrimental to them in learning math. The ones who know the multiplication facts are able to easier learn higher level mathematics, and the ones who don't know them tend to struggle because they get caught up in trying to learn the basics and not be able to move on to higher level. Even my own children, I have 4 children, 4 boys, and they have all gone through Hardin County schools. Shout out to Lakewood Elementary, because that's where all my kids went to school, especially Ms. Laura Beth Hayes. She was one of the teachers for several of my boys, and one of them made the comment, he said, if you don't know how to do multiplication division, then you won't be able to do anything in math. This is my own children who said this and made this comment. So I just want to thank all the elementary teachers for trying to teach basic facts to kids. I know it's hard sometimes. I know it's really difficult. I remember even in my own elementary years, my elementary teacher told me that you can't pass the 3rd grade if you don't learn your multiplication facts. So obviously I guess I did because I passed, but I'm really grateful to them for teaching. I'm grateful for you all for the dedication that you do for that, and just hang in there and keep it up, because we're all in this together.
Hi, my name is Lisa Owens. This is my 17th year teaching at Bluegrass Middle School. I've been here for all of my years, and I teach pre-algebra, algebra, and geometry, so I see a wide range of levels and students. As far as multiplication and division facts go, we take the district test a couple times a year, and students do improve on those, but as a general rule, the majority do not know those facts on a competent level. And one thing that I noticed across all of the levels, regardless of how high a student can score or how low they score, knowing those facts are essential to what they are learning. And when they don't know those facts, they tend to spend more time trying to figure out the answer to a multiplication or division problem, and then they're not able to grasp the more complex solution that they're working towards in the end. My own daughter come through here. She was also in the advanced class, but she knew her multiplication facts from an early level. So she did not struggle as far as numbers and number sense and understanding what those numbers meant. She went on to do very well at John Hardin. And I just want to thank all the elementary teachers for all that they do to make sure that our teachers have those foundational skills that they need to be successful in middle school and beyond.
Hi, I'm Samantha Doherty. I teach at Central Hardin. This is my 11th year teaching. I've had 9 years at Central and 1 at North. I've taught Algebra 2, Geometry, Pre-Calculus, and AP Calculus. We have lots of reasons why it's important for students to learn their math facts about multiplication and division. One being it builds their conceptual understanding of the inverse relationship the two share, and that helps in solving equations in algebra. It also helps students build their fluency, and so they gain confidence in their math skills at an early age, which is foundational and helping them build confidence in high school as well. It also helps them understand how we can break numbers down into factors. Prime factorization is really important when we talk about factoring quadratics and polynomials and doing operations with radicals, which we do all the time in high school. And I'd like to thank all the elementary school teachers and middle school teachers for helping our students build a great foundation in their knowledge.
My name is Mandy Holbert. This is my 23rd year in Hardin County Schools. Blessed place to be. I was 8 years at Bluegrass Middle. I taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade there. I was 9 years at North Middle, taught 7th and 8th grade here, and this is my 6th year at John Hardin. I teach 9th grade algebra. The biggest thing that I see with the multiplication tables is if they know it, they come in with a confidence because they have that building block like no other. Versus like today, we're doing equation work. And it's like, okay, we need to add 7, and then all right, let's keep on rocking. 27 divided by 3. And then they stop. And they just pause and they just deflate. You can just see them like, all right, somebody else take that one, because they don't know it, just like that. And I always give so much credit to the elementary teachers that make sure they know them, just like reading and writing and everything else. Those times tables, those multiplication facts and division facts in elementary schools is so crucial. You know, anybody can do math. It will open so many doors if they know that they can do that math. And when they come in knowing those, it's like they walk different. I'm going to crush this today. And the ones that don't, they struggle. But, you know, for a 7th grader, an 8th grader, even my 9th graders, I tell them, just because you're not good at it yet, go home and practice it. Get your parents involved. Make you some flashcards. Ask your teacher for help. What websites can I hit to get better at this? Because even in 9th grade, if we've got 9th graders that still don't know their multiplication facts, it's not too late to learn them. You know, they can still take that and run with it.
Hi, I'm Jackie Bringers. I am a 8th grade math teacher at West Hardin Middle School. I actually teach regular 8th grade algebra and geometry this year. So excited to be back in math. I've been teaching for 13 years. I've taught all grade levels of math. I've done 3 years of math interventions. And I've done a couple years 6th grade, several years of 7th grade, 2 or 3 years of 8th grade. And the math facts and division facts are so important for just every aspect of math, not just real life skills, because I feel like that's also very important. And I think the students don't realize how important it is in the real world. We're using them all the time. And yes, we have calculators on our phones, but it's just so much easier problem solving without a calculator, without your phone, and just having that knowledge is so important just for like real life skills. But it's also important for higher math skills. And so when they're learning those in elementary school, they're not just preparing themselves for elementary school, they're preparing themselves for 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and in high school even, because they've got to have those skills, you know, knowing their math facts, knowing how to divide, to do the high order math concepts that they're doing in my algebra class, in my geometry class. If they don't have those basic foundations and they don't know those skills, they can't do the higher order type of math concepts. And so it's very important to make sure that all of our children are learning their math facts, that they're learning math division facts, because it's not just used for real world, even though that's super important. And a lot of kids are like, when am I going to use this? You're going to use this all the time. Fractions, you've got to know it for fractions. You've got to know it for decimals. You've got to know it for every single aspect of math that follows you after you've learned them in 3rd grade. And so, one thing that I do want to say is that the elementary students or elementary teachers are doing a great job. My students, my own children, they go to Rineyville, and my son, he is very smart in math, I will say, because, you know, he's got a mama for a math teacher. But he knew his math facts when he was in 2nd grade because his teacher knew to push him. So he knew his adding facts and his subtracting facts, and so she kept pushing him. And I just want to say that that's what we need, and I think the elementary teachers are doing a great job at doing that. And then my youngest kiddo, he is actually at Rineyville, and he is learning them in 3rd grade. And so it's very, very important. And I think our schools, our elementary schools, are realizing the importance of it, and they're doing a great job. And I just want to say thank you to them, because they are definitely doing a wonderful job getting our kids prepared for middle school and for high school. And just knowing your math skills, math multiplication facts and division, is preparing them for the real world. So I just want to say thank you to all the elementary teachers here.
My name is Josh Cowley. I'm currently assistant principal at North Hardin High School. I've been here, this is my 16th year as assistant principal. Before that, I taught math at James T. Alton, 7th and 8th grade math, and I did that for 11 years. Well, when I was a kid, I used to play a lot of video games, and one of the video games we used to play, we got what they called a cheat code. And what the cheat code did for you was it made your character stronger, it made them faster, it made them be able to jump higher. And so what happened was, in the first couple levels, it really didn't matter if you had the cheat code, but when you got further in the game, obviously the levels got more complicated, and so having the cheat code made it possible to get further and further along in the game. In math, your multiplication facts and having them memorized are the cheat code, because what it does for you, it makes everything so much faster, and at the beginning it may seem like it really doesn't matter because you haven't advanced to as much of the complicated stuff yet. But when you truly have those memorized, it makes everything so much faster. You have so much more confidence when you're solving complex problems. You get into fractions, percentages, you name it. In the upper levels of math, everything becomes so much easier if you have those memorized. And for the kids that don't, it just becomes frustrating. You can use a calculator and you can type it in, and you could. You can count by fives or whatever, but it's so much easier if you just know when you see 7 times 5, 35 pops in your head than if you have to count by fives to get there. It saves you so much time. It creates number sense. So it really is. It's the cheat code for math. I just want to say thank you to all the elementary teachers out there. I don't want to name any specifically by name because I'll leave somebody out, but to me, the elementary years are the most important school years for everybody, and so we appreciate all the elementary teachers. I had a son that went to GC Burkhead, great teachers there. He had a really good experience. So I just want to thank all the elementary teachers out there. Everybody doesn't always know what they want to do, for a living as they get older at the age of high school students. So it's really important that you have a solid foundation in every subject, really, but math especially, because that allows you to go whatever direction you want to go. Whether you choose to go to college and study upper level math, or whether you choose to learn a trade, if you want to be a carpenter or an electrician or whatever that is, math skills there are so important. So, it doesn't really matter what specific job you're going to go into. Having that strong foundation is vital.
Hi, I'm Laura Offer, the assistant principal at Ronnieville Elementary School. For the past 16 years, I've been blessed to teach at 3 of the 4 Hardin County high schools. I started my career at North Hardin High School and then made the transition to Central Hardin High School after marriage and moving to a different county. After 8 years at Central Hardin High School, I went on to teach and was given the opportunity to be at the Early College and Career Center, where I got to teach all the dual credit classes. In my evenings and over the summers, I would also teach math at Central Texas College on Fort Knox base, and then with the Elizabethtown Community and Technical College. I have always had a passion for math. My passion for math began at High Valley Elementary School with Miss Alma Ford, where she instilled all of the basic foundational skills with me. It continued on in 6th grade with Mr. Gary Linder, where I quickly became his math assistant, and I would help students who were struggling with their math content. I would also help grade his assignments. I would also go to the board many times to demonstrate a process to work through a math problem. And a lot of times I was rewarded with a Lakers hot dog and fries for lunch instead. And then once I moved on to high school, I realized high school students were not as scary as I had thought as a younger child. So I continued to follow the footsteps of my mother, who taught high school math. After high school, I went on to WKU, where I received a bachelor's arts degree in mathematics and chemistry, and I chose to start my career teaching. I couldn't have reached my goals if it wasn't for my elementary teacher, Miss Alma Ford, who pushed us to learn our multiplication and division facts. Many might think just give the kid a calculator and let them use it for their multiplication, division facts, but they don't realize that later in life, this is going to slow their thinking process when we have to use that content, that basic fact, to solve geometry problems with fractions or with area and different models. We also use it in algebra to solve our algebraic equations. Here at Rineyville Elementary School, we have several teachers who are teaching these foundational skills. One is Miss Heather Hack. She will quiz her students constantly on their multiplication division facts. If they are going to a restroom break, in order to leave for the class restroom break, she will quiz them on their multiplication facts. When they're returning back from lunch, they have to be quizzed, or recess. She's constantly asking and drilling her students with these foundationals. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the elementary school teachers who are pushing these foundational facts, because it will benefit not only in middle school but also in high school when they're completing their high school coursework.
Hello, my name is Casey Goodman. I've spent 13 years in the classroom in both Warren County and Hardin County schools teaching mathematics in grades K through 5. Math is so important, and it's so important that we start off those basic building blocks, learning our facts and learning about the relationship between multiplication and division. There's so many great opportunities we have in the classroom with the resources we have. We have a lot of manipulatives that we use in the classroom. That way the students have a visual and a tactile way of learning the operations and the patterns of numbers and how those relationships form between multiplication and division. This is my second year as principal at Cecilia Valley Elementary School. When I go into classrooms, I want teachers using real-world applications as they teach multiplication and division. Things like cutting foods into portions, counting money, different things that they will be exposed to in life. We want the students to understand why learning your facts is so important. I remember as an elementary school student how excited I was when I finally made that connection and learned my multiplication facts, and to understand how it laid the foundation for algebraic thinking, critical thinking skills, real-world problem solving. And I just want to thank all of our hardworking math teachers at the elementary level. It starts in kindergarten, laying that foundation of addition and subtraction, and we build on top of that. So those foundational skills are so important, and we're so grateful for our teachers. Here in the district, we're using foundational numeracy. It's a partnership we have with GREC, our educational cooperative, and we are teaching our teachers how to lay that foundation to build and introduce mathematics in a fun way.